Hey guys, once again I'm Salim here and hope you all are safe and staying healthy. And this session we are going to start with a new chapter. That is, this is the second chapter which you are going to start in our series. Okay, and earlier we did Animal Kingdom. I hope you all would have watched that. Okay, and it might be helpful for you all for your need preparation. Okay, so after completing that Animal Kingdom, just come forward for the next chapter, that is Morphology of flowering plants. Okay, and I would like to say that morphology of flowering plants is one of the easiest chapter in 11th syllabus. Okay, so here like in morphology of plants, like usually we'll be getting two questions every year in NEET. Okay, so average of you can say one question will be there at least. Okay, so and moreover this questions, this chapters will be getting questions which are all directly. Okay, you will be getting a direct NCRT type of questions from this chapter, and this is quite interesting as well as easiest for the students who are all looking for a minimum guaranteed marks, right? Okay, so those type of students can also get help utilized with this video. Okay, so without wasting time, we'll go. Okay, before that I would like to say just subscribe to the channel. Please follow this channel. Okay, so you will be getting videos every day. Okay, you'll be getting videos every day, one single chapter or at least one single concept, at least it will be uploaded. Okay, so just share to your friends, like it will be complete in English. Okay, so why? Because like when I was searching in YouTube, like I couldn't get a complete English video. Okay, even though if it is in English, the quality of the video is also not that good. Okay, so I would like to make that in a better way. Okay, and this video session, this video series will be completely in English. Okay, so we'll start this chapter, that is morphology of flowering plants, and in this chapter we'll study about root, stem and leaves, right? Okay, fine. So first, when we go for morphology, first we should know like what is morphology, right? Okay, so morphology is nothing but a study of external features, okay, of any organism. Okay, when we are able to study an external feature of any organisms or a structure of angiosperms, gymnosperms, whatever it is. Okay, since we are talking about flowering plants, we are going to study about the morphology of structure angiosperms, right? Okay, so first we'll start studying about roots. Okay, so roots are all of three types. Okay, so roots are of three types. One is taproot, fibrous root and adventitious root. Okay, so taproot means which is having a direct elongation of radicle. Okay, direct elongation of radicle. You may know like radicle is the part from where the root will be produced during the time of germination, during the time of seed germination. Okay, and this will be this taproot will be the direct, taproot will be the direct elongation of radicle which will grow inside the soil. Okay, which will grow inside the soil, and it will bears lateral roots. Okay, you can say this is the primary root, this is the secondary, and this is the tertiary. Okay, so it will be keep on emerging the lateral roots into multiple factors, right? Okay, and you can say majority of dicots, okay, majority of dicots are all taproots. Okay, it all made up of dicots. Okay, example you can say mustard will be the best example, right? Next one is fibrous root. Fibrous root is a primary root which is short lived. Okay, you can say in this fibrous root, first a short root will be formed. Okay, primary root will be formed, but which is very short living tendency, and it will be replaced by numerous roots. Okay, it will be replaced by numerous roots. Okay, so very simple, it has a primary root, okay, which is replaced by numerous, which is replaced by numerous roots. Okay, short roots, numerous short roots. Okay, and those short roots are all called as fibrous roots. Okay, and again here majority of monocots will be having, monocots will have fibrous roots. So you can say full strengthening will be given with the help of fibrous root for those organisms. And the last one is adventitious root. Okay, here the root will be arised from any part of the plant. Okay, so the root may arise from any part of the plant, either it is in a stem, okay, not only below the stem. Okay, I'm saying like any part of the plant the root will arise. Okay, other than radicle, remember this point, other than radicle. Okay, any part of the plant will give a rise to a root, okay, and that root is called as adventitious root. Okay, examples you can say grass will be an example, monstera will be an example, okay, monstera plant will be an example, okay, and banyan tree, okay, well known banyan tree is an example of adventitious root. Let's move to the structure of roots. So this slide will be this slide is quite familiar for you all guys, I guess, right? Okay, why? Because like you might have studied this, three regions are there in the root, okay, three regions are there in the root. And first of all, the roots will be covered, okay, the roots will be covered with a root cap, right? Okay, the roots will be covered with the root cap, okay, and that is a thimble like structure. Remember this point, which is a thimble like structure, okay, thimble like structure, okay, and it will be present, it will be protecting the apex, okay, it will be protecting the apex from the soil, okay, and that part is called as root cap, right? Okay, this will be covering the whole region of meristematic part, right? So when we talk about three root regions, so first one is meristematic region, which is near to root cap, okay, which is near to root cap, and it the cells are very small here, the cells are very small in size, okay, and they are active in dividing, okay, it is active in division, okay, these cells are active in division, and they are thin walled, okay, and they will be having a thick protoplasm, thick, or you can say dense protoplasm will be present, right? So this is what about your region of meristematic activity. So that means it will be actively dividing, so the growth will be originated from the meristematic region. The next one is elongation, wherever the growth induces, and that has to be elongated. Elongation means increasing the length of the plant, right? Okay, so here the cells undergo rapid elongation, here the cells undergo rapid elongation as well as enlargement, okay, elongation and enlargement, right? Okay, and this region is responsible for increasing the length of the root. This region is responsible for increasing the length of the root, right? And the next last part is region of maturation. Okay, here whatever the elongated region, whatever the elongated roots are there, those roots will now matured, okay, those roots will be now going to be matured, and it is going to differentiate, okay. So that means first in meristematic activity the plant will start growing, okay, and in region of elongation the roots or the length of the plant or length of the root is going to be increased, and in the region of maturation those increased length will be getting into matured form, or it is going to differentiate, okay. Here root hairs will be found, okay, root hairs will be found in this region to absorb water, okay, to absorb water and minerals. So this is what about the structures of root, okay. You can see here the root hair will be present in the place where the maturation occurs, okay, and this region is nothing but root of elongation, which increases the length, and this region is the active region where the growth initiates, and the root cap, which will be protecting the meristematic region, right? So this is all about structures of root. Next, coming for modification of root. Modification means usually apart from a normal characteristic, but still some roots will be modifying itself according to the nature, okay, to survive itself, okay. So that is what a modification of root here, okay. So some roots may store food and become swollen, okay. Some roots will be modified to store food and become swollen, okay. You can say example taproot of turnip, okay, taproot of turnip and carrot are the examples of this type of organisms, and as well as adventitious roots of sweet potato, okay, adventitious root of sweet potato. So you can see here adventitious roots which are growing, okay, over the sweet potato, and this is the image of turnip, okay. And next one, it also helps in giving mechanical support. If you talk about a banyan tree, the root which is called as prop roots, okay, the roots which are all called as prop roots, so this prop roots help in a complete mechanical support for the banyan tree, right? Okay, that is one important example. And the next one, it also have stilt root. It also have stilt root. Okay, so this stilt root will be usually originating from lower node of stem. Okay, and this stilt root you can see in maize and you can see in sugar cane, right? So this will be originating from the lower node of the stem. Remember that. Okay, then the last one is this roots are also helping in a gaseous exchange. Okay, and those type of gaseous exchanging roots are called as pneumatophores. Pneumatophores. Okay, so usually in rhizopora, this occurs in rhizopora. Here the roots will come out. The roots will come out of the ground and it will grow vertically. You can see here it is all growing vertically, and these roots are nothing but called as pneumatophores. Okay, and this will be helping to get oxygen from the atmosphere. This will be helps in getting oxygen from the atmosphere. Why? Because this pneumatophores usually it will be present in the mangrove forest. Okay, why? Because like mangrove trees will be having a dense branches, so the sunlight cannot penetrate deeper to the roots. So by the time the roots will come out from the soil and it will be taking a gas like exchanges. Okay, this is what about modification of root, right? I guess you all are clear with this. Next one, we are going to talk about stem. Okay, so this stem, like since root is developing from the radical part, stem has to develop from plumule part. Okay, stem will be developing from the plumule part of a seed. Okay, so during the germinating period. Okay, and this stems will be having nodes, internodes, buds. Okay, three regions will be there. You can see the node. Okay, the node region which helps in originating the branches. Okay, from where the branches will be originated, that is nodes. And internodes is that place, is the portion between two nodes. It is the portion between two nodes. Okay, you can say two nodes will be present. Let's say this is one node and this is one node. Okay, so in between there is a space. Okay, and those nodes are called as internodes. And the last one is bud. Okay, so this bud will be forming as a on a stem. Okay, this bud will be a small, um, you can say it will be forming as a small stem. Okay, or a branch, and later it will be enclosed with the protective scales, and it will be converting into axial positions. Okay, you can say, so first bud will be formed into a small stem or a leaf or like that. Okay, and later further it will be recovered. Okay, and it will be converting into branches, or as well as it will be converting into a new axial form also. Okay, that is what about bud. Okay, so usually it will become woody. Okay, it will become woody, and later it will become dark brown also. Okay, so you can say the trunk type of, or trunk type will also be produced from this buds. Okay, so when we talk about main functions of stem, okay, main function of stem is for conduction of water. That means supply of water throughout the plant and minerals. Okay, and which helps in photosynthesis as well. Okay, why? Because the products of photosynthesis will be stored in the stem part. Okay, and it also helps in mechanical support. It also helps in a mechanical support as well as for protection. Okay, it helps in mechanical support as well as for protection, right? And this also helps in vegetative propagation. That means any places, like any place of the, any part of the plant, any part of the plant will also recreates or replaced by other part, other functions. So those is called, those type is called as vegetative propagation. Okay, next coming to modification of stem. So here we'll see how the stem are getting modified according to the nature, according to its habitat. Okay, so stems sometimes it will also modified to store food. Okay, so usually what happen, it will undergo to modify for storing the food. Okay, you can see this in potato. Okay, potato is a modified stem. Okay, and turmeric is the modified stem. Okay, turmeric, ginger. Okay, so these are all the examples of modification of stem. Okay, and it also helps in, okay, it may also develop into tendrils. It may also develop into tendrils which helps in supporting, a long lengthy stem. Okay, and the next one is for it, it may also develop woody and pointed thorns. Okay, it may also develop woody or pointed thorns. Okay, pointed thorns, this will be helping from protection. Okay, this helps in protection for the whole plant. Examples, you can say bougainvillea. Okay, bougainvillea and citrus. Okay, citrus, you can see thorns will be there, right? Okay, needle like type of buds, it is called as needle type of buds. Okay, and next, it may also develop, the stems may also develop chlorophyll to perform photosynthesis. Okay, this is one important function, this is one important modification of stem. Okay, which is like rarely happens. Okay, so the stem itself may develop or modify to form a chlorophyll. Okay, so it will be performing photosynthesis. And the last but not least, vegetative propagation. Okay, so vegetative propagation, as I said, like any parts of the plant will be regenerated, or any parts of the plant will help in multiple functions, that is called as vegetative propagation. So usually what happen when older part of a plant, if it is fall down, okay, then it is a type of vegetative propagation. Okay, in lateral branches, stems will grow aerially. Okay, and it will give rise to new plants. Okay, you might have seen this. Let's say a plant is there. Okay, a branch will be near to the stem, okay, near to the soil, which will be elongated, and it will move inside the soil, and from here again a new branch will start, a new tree will start growing, and that is a type of vegetative. You might have studied this grafting, layering, all comes under vegetative propagation, right? Okay, and for this type of organism, you can say mint is an example, jasmine is an example, right? Okay, and when older parts die, new plants may develop. When older parts die, new plants may develop, which happens in grass and strawberry. Okay, grass and strawberry, older part die, new parts will grow wherever it is, right? New parts will be grown in the same place. Okay, and here in pistia and echornia, in this type of plants, when the stem grows laterally with short internodes, it gives rise to leaves. Okay, and the last one is lateral branches may originate from underground part of the main stem. Like example, you can say banana. Okay, so it will also act as the last modification of stem is it may also act as organ of prenation. Remember, this point is very important. Organ of prenation, that means prenating organ. It is also called as, this is also called as perinating organ. Okay, this is also called as perinating organ. Okay, which will be developing to store. This helps in storing nutrients. This helps in storing nutrients to sustain the organisms during an unfavorable condition. Okay, examples, you can say tubers and rhizomes are the examples of this perinating organs. Okay, remember this point, guys. Perinating organs are nothing but the organs which will store nutrients to sustain organisms during the unfavorable condition. That's called as perination. Okay, so with this, stem part is getting cleared. Okay, so these are all the types of modification. You can see phyllocauds will be produced. Okay, phyllocauds, sorry, yeah, phyllocauds will be produced, thorns will be produced for protecting, okay, for protection. Stem tendrils will be produced for the support. Okay, and the cladodes will be produced, and bulbils will be produced. These are all the type of modification which helps in a multiple functions, right? The next one is leaf. Okay, when we talk about leaf, it is, first of all, it is a green flattened structure, very important point. Okay, and this leaf develops at the node of the stem. Okay, this will develop at the node of the stem, and it bears, it starts growing a bud also. Okay, it starts growing a bud in its axial part. Okay, and later this will develop into branches. Okay, so in the axial part, the nodes will be developed as a bud, and later it will be converted into branches. Okay, so this will develop from shoot apical meristem. Okay, so this develop from shoot apical meristem. Okay, and this will be arranged in a acropetal manner. So one on one like that, it will be arranged in an acropetal manner. Okay, so this is what a basic characteristic of leaf, right? Okay, when we talk about the arrangement, of a leaf, usually the leaf is made up of a combination of leaf base, petiole and lamina. Okay, it is a combination of leaf base, petiole and lamina. You can see this is the leaf base. Okay, so the stem, or you can say leaf base. Okay, and from there a small branch or a bud starts growing, and that is called as petiole, and that petiole will be emerging for the lamina. Lamina is nothing but the leaf blade. Okay, lamina is nothing but leaf blade. Okay, so this leaf base, first it will be attached to the stem. Okay, this leaf base will be attached to the stem. Okay, and it will be possessing two stipules. Okay, this helps in possessing stipules. Okay, stipules means a leafy like type of bud. Okay, it will be first forming a leafy type of bud. Okay, and then it may cover, the leaf base may cover the stem partially or wholly. Okay, in monocot it may be covered, the leaf base may be covered. Okay, in leguminous plants the leaf base will be swollen. Okay, in leguminous plants, remember this, in leguminous plants, okay, the leaf base will be swollen. In leaf base will be swollen, whereas in monocots the leaf base may be partially or wholly covered. Okay, it is covered, right? Okay, then when we talk about a petiole, okay, petiole is also called as a stalk of leaf. It is also called as stalk of leaf, and this is very thin. Okay, long, flexible. It is thin, long, flexible, and it also allows the leaf to move in the wind and easy bringing to fresh air. Okay, so this petiole helps in movement as well. Okay, so this helps in movement to get a fresh wind. Okay, and the next one is lamina, which is also called as leaf blade. Okay, this is the place where the chlorophyll will be present. I hope you all know this, right? This is a very common one. Okay, so chlorophyll will be present, and this expanded part of the leaf possess veins. Okay, so this lamina will be possessing veins. It contains veins and veinlets for the rigidity of the rigidity, and also for transport of water. Okay, so this veins and veinlets are helping in rigidity, which helps in rigidity, and also for transport of water and minerals as well as food. Okay, so these veins will be helping in that manner. Okay, next one is venation. Venation, yeah, it will be having one midrib, which is called as prominent vein. Okay, it is having one midrib, which is called as, this part is called as midrib, which is also known as prominent vein. Okay, it is also called as prominent vein, right? Okay, last we are going to study about venation. Venation is nothing but arrangement of leaf. Okay, venation is nothing but arrangement of leaves, or you can say lamina. Okay, so there are two types of arrangements. One is reticulate venation and another one is parallel venation. Okay, reticulate venation means veinlets form network. Okay, reticulate venation means here the veinlets will be forming a network. You can see this is going to form a network. Okay, so it is like a blockchain type. Okay, it is going to form a network. Okay, so example, you can say dicot leaf will be the examples, ficus will be the example, cucurbita, cinnamomum, all are examples of reticulate venation. When we talk about parallel venation, here the veins are arranged parallelly. The veins are arranged parallelly. Okay, it is arranged parallelly to each other. Okay, examples, all monocot leaves comes under this. Okay, so remember two types are there. One is reticulate and another one is venate. Parallel. One is reticulate and another one is parallel. So dicot leaves, all dicot leaves will be having a reticulate venation, whereas all monocot leaf will be having parallel venation. Right? So this is a clear idea about the venation. Right? Next, types of leaves. When we talk about types of leaves, based on its arrangement, we are differing it, okay, into two types. One is simple and another one is compound. Okay, so a simple means here the lamina is incised or it is intact. Incised or intact means the incision will not be reaching. Okay, let's say leaf is there. Okay, so here the incision will be like this. Okay, so this is a type of simple leaf. When we talk about a compound leaf, the incision will come and touch the midrib. The incision will come and touch the midrib every time. Okay, so that is what called as compound leaf. Okay, simple leaf means the incisions, the corner, or you can say the curve, which is not going to come and touch the midrib. Okay, so example you can say neem leaves. Okay, and neem leaves are the simple type of leaves. Okay, so example neem. Okay, whereas for compound you can say it is having, it will be dividing into, the incisions will reach to the midrib, and the dividing the lamina into number of leaflets. Okay, since it is reaching to midrib every time, so what happened, you can say this is one leaf, this is one leaf, like that it is going to form leaflets. Okay, so this compound leaves are now going to be it is arranged. Okay, it is also arranged into two types. One is, you can say, pinnately compound. One is called as pinnately compound, and another one is called as palmately compound. Okay, first type is pinnately compound leaves, and another one is palmately compound leaves. Pinnately means the leaflets are arranged on a common axis. Here the leaflets, so what we spoke here were the number of leaves, right? So those leaflets will be arranged in a common axis, in one single axis. Okay, so when common axis, that is called as rachis. Okay, that is called as rachis. Okay, and palmately compound leaf means which is attached to a common point here, which is attached to a common point. Okay, and you can say that is also a tip of petiole. Tip of petiole. Okay, example is silk cotton for palmately. Example of palmately is, palmately compound leaves are silk cotton, and example for pinnately compound leaf is clematis. Okay, example of pinnately is clematis, right? Okay, then we'll talk about the branches. Okay, the arrangement of branches. Okay, arrangement of leaves on a stem or branches, that is called as phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy is nothing but arrangement of leaf on stem or branch. There are three types. One is alternate, one is opposite, and another one is hold. Okay, alternate means one leaf. Okay, you can see this image. Alternate means one leaf arise from each node. So you can say here this is one node, this is one node, this is one node, this is this. So from each node only one single leaf will be erased. Okay, and those type of arrangement is called as alternate arrangement. Okay, example of alternate arrangement: mustard, sunflower. Okay, mustard, sunflower, and China rose, all these are all alternate. Opposite means where the pair of leaf will arise from each node. Let's say in opposite, you can say this is one single node from where two leaves are produced. Okay, two leaves are arranged in opposite manner. Okay, here this is one node where two leaves are arranged. One node, two leaves are arranged. So this is called as oppositely arranged phyllotaxy. Okay, so examples are Clatoporus. Okay, examples are, sorry, Calotropis and Goa. Okay, Goa are the two examples of opposite. And for hold means more than two leaves will arise from each node. Okay, you can see more than two, one, two, three. Okay, from one single node, more than two leaves will be grown. Okay, or raised. Okay, and that will make a whole. Okay, and that is called as, example of that is Alstonia. Okay, example of a hold type of phyllotoxy is called as Alstonia. Right? Hope you understood this one. The last slide of today's session is modification of leaf. So how the leaves are getting modified. Okay, so leaves may modified into tendrils. Okay, for climbing. Okay, it helps for climbing. Okay, so climbing as well as it helps in support also. Example, you can say tea plants. Okay, the next one, it may also modify into spines to reduce. Okay, to reduce the rate of transpiration. This is very important. This is usually done in the place of desert type of, or the place where the water is lacking. Okay, so those places the spines will be produced to reduce the rate of transpiration as well as to the protection. Okay, example cactus. Right, next, it also, the leaves may also become fleshy to store food. Okay, this will also become fleshy to store food. Example, you can say onion, okay, and garlic. Right, so these are all the examples of modification of leaf to becoming fleshy. And next one, it may also modify to capture insects. Okay, and those type of plants are called as insectivorous plant. Right, Okay, those type of plants are also called as insectivorous plants. Example, pitcher plant, okay, Venus fly, pitcher plant, Venus fly, okay, and these are all the examples of insectivorous plant. Okay, Venus fly trap, it is called Venus fly trap, right? And the last one is sometimes, okay, sometimes it happens, sometimes the leaves are short lived, okay, sometimes the leaves are short lived, and so the petioles will enlarge to become photosynthetic. Okay, sometimes when the leaves are short lived, okay, short lifespan, so by the time the petioles will enlarge to become photosynthetic. Okay, example, this you can see in one of the rarest species, that is Australian acacia. Acacia, okay, Australian acacia. You can see the diagrams, images here. This shows the tendrils, modification of tendrils. Here you can see the spines which is present, okay, spines which is present for reducing the transpiration rate. Okay, and those leaves are called as phyllocotes, phyloclad. Okay, those leaves are called as phyloclad, and here you can say phyllodes will be produced, right? Okay, and here this is a example of pitcher plant which will be trapping the organisms or the prey. Okay, and the last one is petioles, which helps in photosynthetic part also. Okay, so with this, the leaf part and leaf, stem and root part is over. So in the next video, we'll get to know about flowers, fruits, and some about seeds. Okay, so hope you all and enjoying this video. If you have any suggestions, please do comment in your chat box. Then only I will get to know what are all the mistakes or what are all the expectations from your side. Okay, so I hope you're all enjoying. So again, the motto is think big, dream big. Okay, so make sure you are subscribing this channel and you are following me in Instagram, or if you like this video, actually you can share it to your friends. Okay, thank you so much guys. We'll meet you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.